So let's move forward. So the next topic is okay. Now you see point 1, permutation means arrangements. All right, that is, see, up till now we had been using uh, the fundamental principle of counting. So suppose you have three objects A, B and C. So the number of ways to arrange these objects is, the first place has 3 choices, the second has 2 and the last has 1, so 6. And I told you that ordering, if possible, is included in this. So if A comma B comma C is one possible arrangement, then B comma A comma C will be another possible arrangement. Okay, so all possible orderings will be included in these 6 ways. So in case of arrangements, ordering is very important. Second point is combination. Combination means selection. Okay, so if we have, let's say, 3 objects and we would like to select 2 objects from these 3 different objects, then what are the possible choices we have? They are A comma B, B comma C and A comma C. Note that ordering is immaterial here. A comma B and B comma A both are the same choices, so ordering is irrelevant. All right. Third point, we already know that if you have, let's say, n objects, n different objects, and you want to arrange them in a row, okay, then the total number of ways is, you have n places, so you have n minus 1 until 1, so n factorial. Fourth, number of ways in which R objects can be selected out of n different objects. This is equal to n factorial upon r factorial n minus r factorial, and this is denoted by NCR. Okay, NCR, or this is same as NC n minus r. Okay, let's see why this is true. Proof. Now you see, suppose you have n different objects. Okay, now number of ways, we have seen that number of ways of choosing R objects out of these n objects, in any order, including ordering, that is equal to, suppose you want to select R objects, okay, and you want to choose R objects such that ordering is important. So you have n choices for the first place, n minus 1 choices for the second place, till n minus r minus 1 choices for the last place. Okay, so this is the total number of arrangements of R objects taken from n different objects, where obviously R must be less than equal to n. Okay, now we have already discussed that multiplication includes all possible orders. Okay, now suppose these n objects are, let's say, O1, O2 till On, and suppose the R objects that appear here, suppose O1, O2 till OR. Okay, suppose these were the R objects that were that is one possible arrangement. Okay, now you see, since we said that multiplication includes all possible orders. So any all possible orderings of this particular choice of R objects will be included in this number, which is n into n minus 1 till n minus r minus 1, right? So that means any one particular arrangement appears r factorial times in this quantity. All right. So what we are saying is that once we have a fixed set of R objects, okay, then we can arrange them in R factorial ways. Therefore, each set of R objects is repeated R factorial times. So number of ways in which R objects can be selected out of n different objects is n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 n minus r plus 1 upon r factorial. Okay, and this is nothing but you just multiply and divide by n minus r factorial, and this becomes n factorial upon r factorial n minus r factorial, which is NCR. All right, so just to let's go through this once again. What we said is that n into n minus 1 till n minus r minus 1, these are all possible arrangements of R objects which are taken from n different objects. Okay, now if you select any one particular arrangement, let's say O1 till OR, okay, then when the question is what are the number of ways of choosing R objects out of the question is number of ways in which R objects can be selected. So if we are asking about selection, then ordering is immaterial there. Okay, so once you have selected these R objects, then all possible arrangements, let's say O2 O1 till OR or O3 O2 O1 till OR, all these are actually the same selections as far as selections are concerned, because ordering is irrelevant, right? So in how many ways is this particular arrangement occurring? It is occurring in R factorial ways. Okay, so that's why we divide the total number of arrangements by R factorial, because each arrangement is repeated R factorial times. Okay, so this will give you the number of selections, because selection does not require any kind of ordering. All right. Okay. Now, let's solve some questions. Find number of 5-digit numbers in which digits are in first ascending order, second descending order. Okay, now you see now when you want to arrange the digits in ascending order, you see it is important whether or not 0 is selected or not amongst, see, you have 9 digits, with you 0 so let's say case 1 is 0 is not among the 5 digits selected. Okay, so in total you have 0, 1, 2 till 9, 10 digits, but 0 is excluded, so you have 9 options with you. So in that case you have 9C5 ways of selecting 5 digits, and they can be arranged in only one way, because you have to arrange them in ascending order. Okay, now if case 2, if 0 is included, then you see, if you want to, then no such 5-digit number is possible Because 0 must appear in the first place only. But if 0 appears at the first place, then the number formed is a 4-digit number. So no 5-digit number can be constructed if 0 is included. So 9C5 is your answer. Okay. All right. Now second part. Now you see, if 0 is not included, then you have 9C5 ways of selecting 5 digits. All right, and there is only one way of arranging them in descending order. So case 1 is 9C5. Now case 2 is, if 0 is included, if 0 is in the list of 5 digits that you have selected, then the only possibility is that 0 must be at the last place. All right, 0 must be at the last place. So that means from the remaining 9 digits we have to select 4 digits. Okay, and there is only one possible arrangement. Okay, so finally answer is case 1 plus case 2, which is 9C4 plus 9C5. And if you have studied a little bit of binomial, then you would recognize that this is nothing but 10C5. Okay, I'll cover these binomial related concepts in a later chapter, but for now, if you are uncomfortable with this thing, then you can just compute this directly and calculate the answer. Okay. The next concept is, let's say, result, number of ways of arrangement or permutations of n different objects taken r at a time is nothing but NCR into r factorial. Okay, where of course r must be less than or equal to n. Well, the proof is, suppose I say that event E1 is select r objects, okay, from n different objects, and event E2 is permute the r objects. All right, so basically what we are asking is E1 and E2, what are the number of ways of occurrence of E1 and E2, and this is by multiplication rule. This is NCR, which is the number of ways in which event E1 can occur, into r factorial, which is the number of ways in which event E2 can occur, and this is your this is the result that we were looking for. Okay, all right. Now this is sometimes also denoted by NPR, which is nothing but n factorial upon n minus r factorial. Okay, all right. So let's solve some questions now. Find number of 4-letter words formed using A, E, I, O, P, Q, R, S, T such that first, a letter can be used at most once. Okay, so you see, at most once implies that all letters in the word must be different. Okay, so total number of 4-letter words possible is, you choose, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 alphabets. You select any 4 of them and then you permute them. Okay, so this is your answer for the first part. Second, use exactly 2 vowels and a letter can be used at most once. Okay, now you see the vowels are A, E, I, O and the consonants are P, Q, R, S, T. Okay, so we have to use exactly 2 vowels. So the first thing is, let's say we select the 2 vowels in 4C2 ways. 4C2 denotes select 2 vowels. Okay, and this is your event E1, and simultaneously we want that we select 2 consonants because we have to construct a 4-letter word. So we have selected 2 vowels, so remaining 2 letters must be selected from the 5 consonants available. So we select 5 consonants, 2 consonants from the 5 given consonants. Select 2 consonants. This is your event E2. Okay, into and 4 factorial, which is the number of, now once you have made the selection, now you have to permute the 4 letters. Okay, because all possible arrangements we have to consider. So into 4 factorial. So this is your event E3. What is event E3? Event E3 is arrange the 4 alphabets. Okay, so 4C2 into 5C2 into 4 factorial. All right. Third part, use at most 1 vowel and a letter and all letters different, which is same as saying that a letter can be used at most once. Now there is a small trick here. Trick is, if you encounter at most or at least, then convert it into exactly. Okay, at most, at least, convert it into exactly. All right. Okay, so we are saying that at most 1 vowel. So first case is exactly 0 vowels were used, and case 2 is 1 vowel was used. All right. Now if 0 vowels are used, then we have to select all the 4 letters from the 5 consonants only, and we can arrange them in 4 factorial ways. And in case 2, we can select 1 vowel from the 4 vowels available, and we have to select the remaining 3 consonants from the 5 consonants available and then arrange them in 4 factorial ways. So this is your answer. Note that case 1 and case 2 are mutually exclusive cases. Okay. All right. The next concept is permutation of alike objects taken all at a time. Okay. All right. So you see, suppose I ask you to permute A, B, C, D. Okay, suppose I ask you to permute these 5 alphabets in which two A's are alike. Okay. Now, suppose, assume for the moment, for the time being, assume that this is A1, this is A2, okay, and these are B, C, D, okay. Suppose A1 and A2 were distinct. So, how many arrangements are possible? In this case, there are total 5 factorial arrangements, okay, assuming all are distinct. Now, you see, consider the following situation. One arrangement that you can obtain is this: A1, BC, A2, D. And another arrangement that you can get is A2, BC, A1, D. Okay. Now, you see, A1 and A2, they are actually nothing but A only, because we have alike objects. So, these two cases are being counted twice. Because when we were assuming they are all different, but in fact A and A, they are two alike objects. So, these two cases are being counted twice. This case is being counted twice in 5 factorial. Okay. So, every permutation is counted twice. So, the total number of permutations when you have two identical A's and B, C and D is 5 factorial upon 2 factorial. Okay. Similarly, if I tell you that you have 3 A's and B, C, D, E. Okay. Again, the 3 A's will permute again amongst themselves to give identical permutations. Okay. That is, suppose let's call it A1, call it A2, and call this A3. Okay. One of the permutations that you can get is B, C, D, E, A1, A2, A3. Okay. Now, these three in the 7 factorial permutations of these 7 letters, if we assumed that all of them are distinct, then the total number of arrangements would be 7 factorial. But in these 7 factorial arrangements, consider this particular arrangement. Now, these 3 A's, A1, A2 and A3, you will have one arrangement as follows, which is A1, A3, A2. Then this will remain same, and then you will have A2, A1, A3. So, in fact, you will have six such arrangements in which A1, A2 and A3 will permute amongst themselves. Okay. So, each permutation in the 7 factorial permutations is repeating itself 3 factorial times when A1, A2 and A3 will permute amongst themselves. But all of them are actually identical A's, so it doesn't matter that so the ordering is irrelevant for these 3 identical A's. So, the final answer would be 7 factorial by 3 factorial, because every arrangement is being repeated 3 factorial times. Okay. And what is that 3 factorial number? That the number 3 factorial represents the permutations of A1, A2, A3 amongst themselves when we assuming that they are distinct, but they are in fact identical. Okay. All right. Now, suppose I have 3 identical A's, 2 identical C's, D, E, F. Okay. Now, again, if I ask you that what are the total number of permutations of these 3 plus 2, 5, 8 alphabets, then the process is, it's straightforward. First, you remove the redundancy due to A. Okay, so you have 8 factorial by 3 factorial permutations. Now you see, 8 factorial by 3 factorial, what we have done is, in the 8 factorial arrangements, assuming that all of these 8 alphabets are distinct, after dividing by 3 factorial, we have removed the excess permutations which were being generated by the 3 A's. Okay, but we have not accounted for the 2 C's till now. So now what you do is, again divide this by 2 factorial. The resultant number of permutations that are left, in that the ordering of two C's is being counted for. Okay, so we divide it further by 2 factorial. So the final answer would again be 8 factorial by 3 factorial 2 factorial. Alright, so we have the following proposition. Suppose n objects are given, out of which you have n objects, out of which n1 are of type 1 identical, n1 are identical objects of type 1, n2 are identical of type 2, so on till nk number of objects identical of type k. Okay, then the number of ways of their arrangements taken all at a time is n factorial upon n1 factorial, n2 factorial till nk factorial. Alright, so this is a very simple concept. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So what we have done is, just to summarize, whenever we have alike objects in a given set of objects, then what we have to do is, we have to account for the excess permutations which are generated by the identical objects. See, if you assume that these three A's are distinct, then they will for every arrangement of these, let's say in this example, for every arrangement of these 7 letters, there will be 3 factorial arrangements in which these 3 A's will permute amongst themselves, right? But from the point of view of A, they are actually the same thing, because they are actually not distinct, they are identical A's. So we divide by 3 factorial. So we have 7 factorial by 3 factorial in this case. Similarly, here we have 8 letters. Okay, so what we do is, first we remove the excess permutations due to the 3 A's. So we divide by 3 factorial. Now in these 8 factorial by 3 factorial permutations, we still have the excess permutations due to the 2 identical C's. When we are still counting C1 C2 and C2 C1, but these are actually the same cases from the point of view of 2 identical C's. Okay, so we further divide by 2 factorial. So quite a simple logic. So if you are having trouble understanding this concept, then I would suggest that you go through the video again, the relevant portion, and think about it. Okay, try to think that whatever I said, does it actually make sense or not? Okay, alright, the next thing is tie and gap method. Okay, now the tie method says that suppose you have, let's say, 5 objects A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and I ask you, find the total number of arrangements of these 5 objects taken all at a time, such that A and B should always be together. Okay, so the idea of tie method is, if 2 objects should always be together in the permutations, then tie them as one unit. Okay, so tie them as one unit and permute this unit with the other objects. So the other 3 places are, let's say, C, D and E. Okay, so tie them and permute this unit, this whole unit, with the other remaining objects. So that is possible in how many, sorry about that. So we have 4 places now, 1 unit and 3 places. So 4 factorial is the number of arrangements in which you can permute these 4 objects, one this and this whole unit, and into 2 factorial, because A and B can permute amongst themselves as well. So this is precisely the number of arrangements in which A and B are always together. Okay, Okay, now the permutations of A and B, that is known as that is something which I call as intra-permutation, and the permutation of this whole unit of A and B with the other remaining letters, that is known as something I call as interpermutation. Okay, this is not standard terminology, this is something which I use. So I don't think you will find this terminology in any book, so this is not at all standard, or it is something which I use for my convenience. Okay, all right. Now gap method, what the gap method says is, if you have, let's say, A, B, C, D, E. Suppose I ask you the number of permutations such that A and B should never be together. Okay, so that is no two of some objects should be together. Then what we do is permute the rest of the objects, permute rest of the objects, and now in created graphs permute the given objects, the two objects which, let's say, okay, we will take an example very soon and then it will become very clear what I'm trying to say here. So no two of some of the objects, let's say these two objects, permute the given objects here, these given objects are these two objects. In the created gaps, permute the given objects after selecting the required number of gaps. So what I mean to say is, suppose I have A, B, C, D, E, and if I say that A and find all those permutations such that A and B should never be together, okay, then what I do is you write down 3 places for C, D and E. Okay, so these C, D and E, they can be permuted in 3 factorial ways. Now there are 4 gaps created. Now A and B can be put in any of these 4 gaps and the required condition will be satisfied, that is A and B should not be together. Now you can first you have to select 2 gaps, okay, so 4C2, and then you permute them. So this is the number of arrangements such that A and B are never together. Okay, all right. Okay, now note, suppose we have A, B, C, D, E. Scenario 1. Scenario 1 is no two of A, B, C must be together. Okay, suppose this is your question, then obviously you can use the gap method. All right, why? Because we are saying no two of A, B, C must be together. So first of all, put D and E, permute them, and then you have 1, 2, 3 gaps. So there is in these 3, out of these 3 gaps, select 3 and then permute A, B and C. Okay, so this is the number of ways in which you can arrange A, B, C, D, E such that no two of A, B, C must be together. That is okay. So this is one thing. Scenario 2 is if I ask you find all those permutations such that all 3 of A, B, C should not be together. Now note the difference between the first scenario and the second scenario. First scenario says that no two of A, B, C must be together. That is, A cannot be adjacent to B. This is not allowed. This is not allowed. This is not allowed. This is not allowed, and so on. Okay. But all three of A, B, C should not be together. This is something different. Okay. All three of A, B, C should not be together means that A, B can be together, but you can have, let's say, D in between and C can be here. This is a valid permutation. Okay, and you have E here. This is a valid permutation, but A, B, C, this is not a valid permutation. Okay, A, B, C cannot be together. Okay, so all three should not be together, but two of them can be together. Okay, so note the difference between the first scenario and the second scenario. All right, so in case of the second scenario, now another important thing is, you see, in scenario 1, you will never have this kind of situation. In scenario 1, you will never have this kind of situation. This kind of situation will never happen in scenario 1, but this can happen in scenario 2. Okay, so note the difference. Now for scenario 2, what we will do is, we will use the bijection rule. That is, we will calculate the total number of arrangements, which is nothing but 5 factorial, and we will subtract from it, answer is total minus unfavorable cases. What are the unfavorable cases? Well, unfavorable cases are those when all A, B, C are together, and that is, now to calculate this, what we do is, to calculate this quantity, again tie ABC as a unit. You have the remaining places D and E. So you have three boxes, one this and this. So arrange them in 3 factorial ways into, you have 3 factorial intra permutations of A, B and C. Okay, so your final answer is 5 factorial minus 3 factorial into 3 factorial for scenario 2. Okay. All right. Now you okay. All right. So let's move forward. Okay. Let's solve some questions. Let's solve a big example now. Let 10 persons be made to stand in a row A part. So first part is, find total number of possible ways if there is no restriction. Well, if there is no restriction, then the answer is 10 factorial. Okay, now suppose I say that two particular persons A and B should not stand together. Then by the gap method, this would be, you have two particular persons A and B should not be together. So what you do is, first of all, permute the remaining 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 remaining 8 people in 8 factorial ways. Then you have 9 gaps which are created. In these 9 gaps you can put A and B anywhere. So first of all, choose 2 gaps and then permute A and B. Okay, so this is your answer. So 8 factorial is arrangement of remaining people, remaining persons. 9C2 means choose 2 gaps for A and B, and 2 factorial is permute A and B, which is the intra permutation. Okay, let's say if I ask you that A and B find the number of ways in which A and B should stand together. So then this is nothing but tie method. So tie A and B together. Okay, so you have remaining 8 places, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So now you have 9 boxes. Arrange them in 9 factorial ways, and then you can intra permute A and B as well. So 9 factorial into 2 factorial. Now suppose I say that A and B should be together and C comma D should be together. Okay, but they all should not be together. Okay, so in this case basically we have to use a combination of gap plus tie method. Okay, let's see how to do that. Well, tie AB, make AB as one unit and CD as another unit. Okay, now you have 6 persons left, so put 6 persons in a row. Okay, now in this, so first of all, arrange the 6 persons in 6 factorial ways, that is permutation of remaining persons. Okay, now there are 7 gaps created. Okay, in these 7 gaps, select 2 gaps. Select 2 gaps for this box and this box. We will select 2 gaps and we will put these two put the 2 boxes of A, B and CD in those 2 gaps. Okay, into 2 factorial. This 2 factorial is intra permutation of AB into 2 factorial, which is intra permutation of CD. Okay, into 2 factorial, which is the permutation of AB and CD. Okay, and this is your answer. See, because you see, we can have the following scenario. You can have, let's say, you have this, suppose AB is in this gap. Okay, then you have 1 2 3, and let's say CD is in this gap, and you have 2 letters here. Then you can also have the following situation. You can have CD here, AB here, okay, and remaining, so these are the remaining 6 letters, but you can permute these 2 boxes which contain AB and CD also. Okay, so this 2 factorial accounts for the permutation of these 2 boxes. Okay, so once again, 6 factorial is the permutation of remaining persons. Okay, first of all, we put the 6 persons separately. Okay, we permute them. Then in the 7 gaps that are created, we select 2 gaps. 2 gaps are selected where we have to put the boxes of A, B and C, D. Once we have put the boxes of A, B and C, D, we intra-permute AB or BA. Then we intra-permute CD, that is CD or DC. And then we permute the boxes which contain A, B and CD. Okay. So this is your answer. Okay. Now suppose I ask that from left to right, among ABC, they should follow same order. Okay. Now the immediate tendency of students is to do the following. What they do is they put A, B, C together. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What they do is they tie A, B, C together. Then you have 7 letters left, and then what they say is the answer is 8 factorial, because A, B, C can be arranged in only one way. That is the argument that students sometimes give. That is because from left to right the order must be same. So we won't do 3 factorial. Okay, this is not required because the ordering of A, B, C is only one possible ordering is there. But this is of course wrong logic. 8 factorial is not the answer. See, reason is we didn't say that ABC must be adjacent. ABC need not be adjacent. You can have A here, then you can have something here, B here, something here and C here. We never said that A, B and C must be adjacent. Okay. So the way to do this is as follows. One method is method 1. You select out of these 10 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of these 10 places, select 3 places for A, B and C. Let's say you select this, this and this. Okay. Select 3 places for A, B, C. Put them there in only one way. Only one possible arrangement is there because from left to right the order must be same. So only one possible arrangement. Okay. And then permute the remaining 7 letters in 7 factorial ways. Okay. So this is one way of doing this question. Second method is, you see, what we are essentially saying? We are essentially saying that A, B and C order must be same. So that means ordering amongst A, B and C is irrelevant, right? So whatever arrangement we have, suppose whatever arrangement we have of the 10 persons, in that only suppose you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Suppose one of the arrangements is, let's say B, some person here, A, some person here and C and some persons here. Now BAC, in this particular arrangement there are 3 factorial ways in which you can permute B, A and C, but out of those 3 factorial permutations only one of them is important for us, which is A, B and then C. The remaining permutations, they are irrelevant for us because ordering is not relevant here amongst A, B and C. Okay. So what we are saying is consider A, B and C as alike objects. Okay. So this implies that permutations amongst A, B, C vanish. Okay, because only one possible order is possible. So this implies you have 10 factorial by 3 factorial, which is your answer. And you can check that this is the same as what we have obtained above. Moving on, suppose I say that A should be present at either of the extreme. Okay, so that means you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So A should be present either here or A should be present here. So make mutually exclusive cases. Case 1 is, suppose A is present at the first place. Okay, then you have, once you fix A here, then you have remaining 9 persons and you can permute them in 9 factorial ways. And secondly, if A is fixed here, then you have 9 persons to the left of A and they can be permuted in 9 factorial ways. So answer is 2 into 9 factorial. Okay. Now, if I ask you that exactly 1 out of A and B should be at extreme. Okay, exactly 1 out of A and B should be at extreme. So, okay, this is a little tricky. You see, you have 10 places, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, what you do is, first of all, choose a corner, 2C1, that is either this one or this one. Okay, so this represents, select a corner, C1, select a corner, then 2C1, select either A or B. Okay, select either A or B, you know which one of them you want to put at the corner. Okay, then you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 places left. Now you have to ensure that once you have selected a corner, okay, first you select a corner, either this one or this one. Now you select whether you want to put A at the corner or B at the corner. Okay, after that, whichever is left, either A is left or B is left, you have to ensure that the person who is left does not occupy the remaining corner. So out of these 8 seats, you select one seat where you have to put the remaining person remaining from A and B. Select a seat for, let's say, B, not including the leftover corner, the corner which is not including the corner which is left. Okay, and you can arrange B, the person, this B, you can arrange it only in one way, only one way for B to be seated. Okay, and then you have, once you, let's say A sits here, then out of these 8 seats in the middle, you have to select, let's say B sits here. Okay, now you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 places left. So the remaining 8 people can be arranged in 8 factorial ways. Okay, so this is your answer. All right. Okay, H, no two of A, B, C, D should be seated together. Okay, so this is simple, again, gap method. You see, you have first of all, separate these 6 people who are left, arrange them in 6 factorial ways, select, there are 7 gaps, select 4 and arrange A, B, C, D in 4 factorial ways in those gaps. This is your answer. I between B and C, only A should be present. Okay, now you see, between B and C only A should be present. So that means what you do is tie them in a unit, put A in between, put B here, C here. Okay, and then you have remaining 7 places, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, now these are 8 objects, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So 8 factorial arrangements of these into 2 factorial, because B can be here and C can be here. So intra permutation of B and C. A will remain fixed here. Okay, so 8 factorial is the total number of arrangements of 8 objects, which is one object is this BAC as a unit, and remaining 7 people. Okay, and 2 factorial is the intra permutation among B and C. Okay, now if I ask you that all 4 of A, B, C, D should not be together, then we have already discussed this in the scenario 1 and scenario 2. What you do is, total number of cases is 10 factorial minus all those cases when A, B, C, D are together. Now when A, B, C, D are together, you have tie them as a unit, and then you have 6 more places. So you have total 7 objects. So minus 7 factorial into intra permutation amongst A, B, C, D. This is your answer. Okay. Now K. If I say between A and B, exactly 4 persons should be present. Now think like this. Method 1 is brute force. Well, you have case 1. Suppose A is fixed at this place. You have 4 places here. Okay, and B is here, and remaining 4 people are here. Okay, then case 2 can be, you have A here, then 1 2 3 4 people here, B here, and then 3 people here. Then case 3 would be A here, 1 2 3 4, B here, and then 2 people here. And then you can see that there will be one case 4, and then there will be case 5. Okay, in each case we have fixed the positions of A and B. So only 5 cases. So okay, let me just write it down. Case 4 is A will be here, 1 2 3 4, B, A, 1 2 3 4, B. Okay, so these are the only 5 cases which are possible. Okay, now in each case, number of, let's say in case 1, let's say in case 5, the number of ways is, you have fixed the position of A and B. So you have 8 factorial into 2 factorial. 2 factorial denotes intra permutation among A and B. Okay, and 8 factorial denotes the permutation of these 8 places. Okay, and there are 5 cases, so answer is 5 into 8 factorial into 2 factorial. Now there is one more method to do this question, and that is, you make one unit. Let's say A is here, put 4 people here, and make a unit of 6 people. Okay, and then you have remaining 1 2 3 4. Now think like this. First select 4 people. Okay, select 4 people out of 8 people who are to be seated between A and B. Who are to be seated between A and B. Okay, into 4 factorial, let's say P1, P2, P3, P4. 4 factorial is permutation of p1, p2, p3, p4. Okay, into 2 factorial. This is permutation of a and b. Okay, into 5 factorial. This is the interpermutation. That is, we have one object is this, one is this, this, and this whole box. So we have 5 objects. So interpermutation is this 5 factorial. Okay, so this is the answer. Now you see, don't do this, that 8C4, select 4 people out of 8 people in 8C4 ways, okay, and then do 6 factorial into 5 factorial, because 6 factorial as in you can't permute all of them together. This unit of 6 people, you can't permute all of them, because then it will violate the condition that between A and B 4 people should be there, because then you will have situations where between A and B there is no person at all, or 1 person, 2 persons, 3 persons. Okay, so don't do this. This is wrong. So we won't do this. So this is the right answer. All right. Now, if I say, let's say L part, between A and B 4 particular persons should be there. See, in the above case, we said that between A and B, any 4 persons can be there. That's why we made a choice of 8C4. But now we are saying that between A and B, 4 particular persons will be there. Then that is simple. You have a box A, P1, 4 people here. Let's say those particular persons are P1, P2, P3, P4. You have B. So now we don't have any, we can't make a choice for these 4 people. They are fixed, they are particular people. So we have 4 factorial, which is permutation of P1, P2, P3, P4, into 2 factorial, which is permutation of A and B, into 5 factorial, which is the permutation of this box and these 4 people. This is your answer. So the only difference between this and the last part is that you don't have any scope for the choice of the 4 persons that will be included between A and B. Okay, so that's all for today, and I'll continue in the next lecture.